Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hi, I'm Rose Davidson from Talking with the Experts. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Global Glamping Charities for their valued support. Global Glamping Charities, solving homelessness in all its forms. Reach out to them at globalglamping.org.
Talking with the Experts.
Sandra Nomoto has published the world's first vegan marketing book. We discussed this in episode 459.
So it's called Vegan Marketing Success Stories. So hopefully that tells you will hear stories of vegan businesses that I reached out to in 2021 and 2022. And I really asked them, what were the elements of your top campaign? And many of them, responded and said, we don't really do the campaign model because we're not working with, six-figure marketing budgets here. But they told me, here's what works for us. And so I took that information and I put it also into a guide format. So it's not the type of book, it's not like an anthology book where one company contributes one chapter. It's a complete marketing guide. So I start with marketing basics, from what to name your company to customer service and taglines and messaging. And then I go through some of the older tactics, advertising and direct marketing, sales promotions. The two biggest chapters are public relations and digital marketing because...
Talking with the Experts.
Hello.
Hi, Sandra. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Rose?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you again for letting me reschedule this.
Oh, no worries. Honestly, it happens and things happen, and my husband's not well and I was about to cancel today, but I'll push through and then take him to the hospital.
Oh my, I hope he's fine.
He's got some health issues that are ongoing, and we can't get any resolution for them. So just
oh wow.
He's getting old. So are we. I mean, we're both getting really old. So
You don't look old at all.
oh, thanks. Okay, so we're going to be talking about marketing a vegan business. All right, so the process is just a coffee chat. We just talk about the topic, and if we get off topic, it doesn't really matter. It brings something more organic to the conversation.
Do you record the video as well?
Yes, I do. A short introduction, and then I'll bring you onto camera, and then in about 21 business days you'll get an email with the links to YouTube and to SoundCloud, and you'll get the raw audio transcript of our conversation, so you can pull bits and pieces out of that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good. All right, we'll make a start if it's okay.
Yep.
Sure. So let me get my picture on here so I know that I'm talking to the camera. Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Today, my guest is Sandra Nomoto, and Sandra's going to be discussing with us marketing a vegan business. So, Sandra has published the world's first vegan marketing book, and Vegan Marketing Success Stories is the name of the book. She's gained some insight into what vegan businesses are doing to market themselves in the last couple of years, and what any business can learn from their stories. Now, Sandra is called the Content Doctor, and she is an award-winning content writer and editor for cruelty-free businesses. She has, over the past 10 years in business, the company was the fourth public relations agency in Canada to earn the B Corporation certification. And Sandra contributed to E-Women Network Vancouver, earning the Best Social Media and Community Engagement Award. She authored the only public relations guide you'll ever need in 2019, and Vegan Marketing Success Stories in 2022. On the side of her desk, she co-hosts Veg Networking Canada and Canada's only vegan networking group. She previously served on the boards of directors of the Vancouver Mural Festival and Vancouver Short Film Festival, and writes at sandranomoto.com and for several outlets. Wow, that was a tongue twister for me this morning. Welcome, Sandra. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're so welcome. Thanks so much, Rose. And I should clarify my previous business. So the name of that business was Conscious PR, and that was the business that was certified as a B Corp. So not my current business, but
okay.
But thank you for that.
Okay. Now tell me, what is vegan marketing, and and why have you chosen that path?
Well, when I started this business as the content doctor in 2020, my main goal was to help vegan businesses with their content, because content is a big part of marketing strategy. And of course, marketing is what drives sales. And so as a vegan myself, I'm coming up on 5 years as a vegan as we record this. I'm very passionate about the industry. And I think vegan businesses are really a part of the solution to a lot of our world's problems. And so the way that I decided to tackle that a few years ago was with content. And now come 2021, I was told by an intuitive reader around the time of my birthday that my spirit guides were telling me I was going to write a new book. And that surprised me. I did not have an idea for a new book at the time. But when I thought about the things that I'm involved in work and what I'm interested in, I've always been interested in marketing. And then, of course, being a vegan in the last few years now, I'm increasingly paying attention to what's going on in the vegan world. And so, I Googled, I saw, wanted to know whether somebody had written this book yet. And there was really only one existing book about the vegan industry. And that was Katrina Fox's Vegan Ventures in 2016. So I thought, okay, there's a gap in the market here where I can gather some knowledge from existing vegan businesses around the world, put that into a book. And that was the result that I published last year.
So in the vegan industry, I guess you can call it an industry, how prevalent is it in the total overall marketing industry as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, dollars, percentages, I can't give you those stats. In terms of the number of people who are vegans in the world, we're still under 1%. So we're still a very small segment of the population. And people have asked me, why are you writing a vegan book? You're really niching yourself down. However, when you think about business and industry, there are a lot of players, both, in the multi-million-dollar space and many, many solopreneurs and small businesses that are at the level that I am. And so I think there's a huge opportunity here. And of course, vegan businesses don't necessarily cater to vegans. Some might, but mostly we're catering to omnivores. We want people to try plant-based meat alternatives and dairy alternatives and things like this, and consider a vegan leather bag instead of a bag made of real animal leather. And so, it's interesting because I think there's a huge opportunity in the next decade or so to be a part of this industry. If that's something that you're thinking about. And it has been projected based on what's happening in the industry right now, that in the next 5 years, it will be a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so there are opportunities for sure to be involved.
Yeah, I mean, 1% really isn't a lot, is it? It's, in the overall scheme of things, and I would have thought there would have been more vegans in the world than just 1%.
Yeah, I'm sure there are many people who are somewhere on the plant-based spectrum. So vegetarian is not all the way vegan. Vegetarians still eat some eggs and dairy. And then of course some people may not eat meat, but they eat seafood, and vice versa. So I think if you're looking at the plant-based spectrum, there's a lot of people on there. But in terms of folks like me who are vegans, we don't consume any sort of animal products, whether it's food or other types of products. Yeah, we're still very few, but we're trying to grow.
Yeah, so I mean, how do people get in touch with you if they're wanting to market their business or write content, because it's obviously a very niche market?
Yeah, well, that's why when I started my business in 2020, I started out as the vegan copywriter. And a few months in, I found the word vegan, is still a bit of a mystery word to most people. And I had a client from my previous business in PR who came to me and said, "Hey, I want to work with you again, and let's do some copy editing." But she asked me, "Do I need to be vegan?" And so I realized that just that term was might be turning some people off who might be qualified clients. So for me, I don't require clients to be like vegan themselves or a vegan owned business, but so long as the business is not bringing cruelty to animals, people, planet, in a major way, I'm okay. I consider that a vegan business, and we can work together. And so that's why I changed my title from the vegan copywriter to the content doctor, to be a little bit more inclusive. But when you arrive at my site, it'll be very obvious. I try and say cruelty-free businesses, and by that I mean, no involvement in animals, or no animal involvement in the business. And so, that's how I market themselves. Other vegan businesses are different, but for me, it's just, that's my value stance, and those are the clients that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be inclusive, whether you have a niche market or not. I think we're all trying to find some inclusivity into our businesses, whether it's vegan versus non-vegan, or neurodiverse, if people included in the workplace, or those sorts of things. And I think that we need more of that rather than excluding people.
Yeah, and you touch on a good point about diversity and inclusion. I wrote, it's not a huge section, but I wrote a section in my book in the last chapter about the importance of diversity and inclusion in marketing for vegan businesses, because for a long time, I mean, the word vegan and the term veganism was coined in the UK. And however that spread, there are a lot of visible white vegans. However, a lot of people of color, especially Black people, have played amazing roles in growing the movement. And so, of course, when you're marketing any sort of product or service that is vegan, you do want to ensure that, let's say if you're doing a photo shoot, and ensure that you have diverse models as part of that, and so that you're not excluding certain groups. And so while I don't claim to be any sort of expert in those topics, I thought that was an important thing to mention in my book, because we do need to think about those issues when we're marketing anything. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think advertising agencies are still not getting it right. In my mind anyway, they're excluding people from their adverts in certain circumstances, and I think it's a wrong, giving the wrong message, especially to the younger ones that are coming up through and taking notice of advertising.
Yeah, great point. And that's why I actually reached out to a local agency that's here in my town of Vancouver called And Humanity. And I asked, hey, do you have some resources that I can share in my book if people want to learn more? And they're an agency that actually specializes in this area of inclusive marketing. And so, yeah, so if you purchase my book, the resources, you will see those resources there.
Yeah. So what is in the book? Tell me what the title is and what's included in it.
So it's called Vegan Marketing Success Stories. So hopefully that tells you will hear stories of vegan businesses that I reached out to in 2021 and 2022. And I really asked them, what were the elements of your top campaign? And many of them, responded and said, we don't really do the campaign model because we're not working with, six-figure marketing budgets here. But they told me, here's what works for us. And so I took that information and I put it also into a guide format. So it's not the type of book, it's not like an anthology book where one company contributes one chapter. It's a complete marketing guide. So I start with marketing basics, from what to name your company to customer service and taglines and messaging. And then I go through some of the older tactics, advertising and direct marketing, sales promotions. The two biggest chapters are public relations and digital marketing, because those are the two tactics that these businesses said they were using. And then I go into the face-to-face stuff, so events, direct selling, and then end off with a chapter called Everything Else. So things like how these companies pivoted during the pandemic, how they get word of mouth marketing, as I said, diversity inclusion, and then also a section about companies that were not previously vegan. So for example, The Body Shop has actually committed to having a completely vegan product line by the end of 2023. So companies like that have committed to transitioning to become vegan, and how they're using that in their marketing. So that's an idea of what you'll get in my book. I really wanted no stone unturned with this.
Yeah, and I mean, you could take that book. You don't need to be a vegan business to be able to take the content of the book and use it to better your marketing.
Absolutely. That was my goal with this book. Of course, it's got a vegan lens because all of the businesses that contributed, as well as the examples that I pulled online and got permission to use, are of vegan businesses. But I really wanted it accessible so that if you're just curious about marketing and what businesses do to get themselves out there, you can pick this up. The only difference between this and a conventional marketing book are the examples. The examples just happen to be vegan businesses.
Sandra, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know I read a bit in your bio, but tell me about how you became a marketer.
Yes. So my first job after graduating from university in 2005 was at a local public relations firm. They're no longer around, but they were a very small company, and I went from intern to assistant to the partners within about a year and a half. And I learned everything I know about public relations, gained all of the knowledge in that job. And when I decided to leave, because I knew it was not it was not going to be a fit for me in the end. A big part of what they did was event planning, and I knew that I didn't want to be an event planner for my career. I sort of just had this intuitive inkling that told me, don't apply to any other PR firms, because you actually don't have control over the clients that you get to work with. And around that time, my sister became her own boss as well. Similar journey. She went from admin assistant to a partner of a small business and eventually sold that. And I saw her being an entrepreneur. So I thought, hey, I could do that myself. And so I launched Conscious PR in 2008. Initially, it wasn't an agency. It was just me as a solo publicist. And then I started recruiting interns and eventually a small team around 2014, and then decided to close that business. And in that year and a half that I became vegan and was sort of exploring different careers and wondering what my next path was, that's when the idea for content writing for vegan businesses came to me. That was around the end of 2019, and then 2020 was when I started the business that I run now.
Quite a journey.
Yeah. So I don't call myself a marketer. I feel like I've sort of been at an arm's length with marketing. I've obviously gained a lot, in the public relations circles that I've been in, and then now I feel like I'm more on the front lines where I write the copy that's going to be immediately visible to a company's audience. So it's not quite going through media. Like it did with my previous business. But yeah, now I've written a marketing book. So I guess that's what some people call me now.
Yeah. So where can people find the book, Sandra?
If you go to my website, sandranomoto.com, and hop onto my products page, that has all the different links for the different formats where you can buy the book.
Good. And where can people find you if they want to work with you?
So my content services are at thecontentdoctor.co, and my services for authors, again, you can find that just with my name, sandranomoto.com.
Perfect. If you were to offer some words of wisdom to our audience members, what would that be?
Wow. Like I said in the beginning, we could use a more vegan world for the animals, for people, and for the planet. And so if you're not already a vegan business, but you've been thinking about how your business can have more positive impact in the world, really consider veganizing it and reducing the impact on those animals.
Yeah, I think, even if you don't want to become a total vegan or whatever, but I think we need more kindness, whether it be human or animal. I think, the world will be a heaps better place if we all cared for each other in some form or other.
Yes,
I think we need more
agree.
women running the world.
Absolutely. And many vegan businesses are run by women. And if you're listening to this and maybe you don't run a business, but you're interested in moving more towards veganism, I've got a list of resources that have helped me, documentaries, books, all those things. And again, that's just on my website with my name.
Yeah. So how easy, I guess, more on a personal note, how easy is it to move from omnivore to vegan?
That answer is going to be different for everyone. For me, it was 11 years. That's how long it took me. For some people, it's as easy as overnight. But yeah, most people, start with food because that's the most difficult hurdle. We eat 3 times a day. And so, yeah, you just got to learn to replace your animal products with either alternatives to begin with. And then eventually a whole food plant-based diet is really the healthiest way to go. And then once you do food, everything else becomes so much easier, honestly. Your fashion choices, there's so many vegan alternatives now. And then household products, just making sure that looking out for vegan labels or turning the back of a product and looking at the ingredients, making sure it doesn't involve any animals, obviously looking out for that cruelty-free label as well. Everything else is much easier once you're able to do your diet.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I think we don't often turn the labels over, turn the bottle or jar or container over to find out, whether it's been tested on animals or it's not been. So yeah, it's something to look out for, and I think it's something to be mindful of. Sandra, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your journey and sharing the content of your book with us. It's been enlightening, and I think if anyone wants to, learn about marketing, whether you're a vegan or you're not, I'm sure Sandra's book will be of most benefit for everyone. And if you need to find Sandra and find out what she does, and maybe she can help you, just reach out to her at her website.
Talking with the experts.